Well, so the Diomande thing has been reactivated in the final hours. I think this is going to happen, but it wasn't as done as some people told us. Look, we reported it here too. I mean, we're not going to say, no, we said it wasn't done. No, come on. We said, yes, that this was done, but because, well, everyone agreed. And then Romano comes and drops the here we go. That one, we talked about it in the last video. He has made mistakes, not many times, but some of them were big, like that one with Mark Gay. But is it true that with Mark Gay, hey, at the very last moment, Liverpool backed out and it was something really exceptional, right? That's why we were saying the Diomande deal, guys, it was already done. And when it starts taking longer, we understand it's because Leipzig wants another player to replace him. But there was a journalist who had the latest update, which is positive. For Real Madrid and for the player who ends up arriving, he stood his ground. On that point, wait, things are looking very good, but it's not done yet. That's Florian Plettenberg, whom we've already mentioned here several times on this channel, not as famous as the other one. But hey, in this sense, have they handled the information better or have they been more patient, not rushed things? Real Madrid is now going all in to finalize the signing of Jean Diomande. New negotiations with Red Bull Leipzig are underway. Real Madrid's clear objective is for Diomande to undergo his medical examination as soon as possible and avoid traveling to Leipzig's training camp in Austria. This is from a little while ago, from this very morning, August 4th, 2026. The signs are positive, and the feeling is that there are 24 crucial hours ahead. Maybe in the next video, we'll already be confirming the signing of the Ivorian by Real Madrid. Well, that's one thing. The other name of the day is Vinicius. I'm about to play an interesting Real Madrid TV video where it looks like Vinicius is staying at Real Madrid. I mean, if we weren't in the middle of all this contract renewal mess, it would just be another day of Vinicius at Real Madrid. Another return, another preseason, and with the excitement of starting an amazing year and all that with a new coach, etc. But of course, that's not the case. So let's start with what's being said. Ramon mentioned a while ago that a meeting is planned in the next 48 hours between Vinicius and Real Madrid, which I hope will be between Florentino and Vinicius. So Florentino can tell Vinicius directly what he wants, and Vinicius can express to Florentino what he expects. And there shouldn't be any intermediaries there because this is something that needs to be resolved right now. I mean, we can't afford this after 2 years of negotiations, sometimes broken off, sometimes stalled. This can't go on. It just can't. There have been negotiations that broke down at some point, stalled at others, and this just can't go on. We need to bring positions closer together, but the problem is they're still far apart. Rodra says here that it'll be on Wednesday, which matches what everyone else is saying too, right? So a meeting already, well, today is Tuesday, so tomorrow. Real Madrid doesn't plan to increase its last renewal offer, which was going to stay at around 20 to 22 million euros. And that's it. Image rights at 50%, as we've mentioned on this channel. And no renewal bonus, because Madrid, we say it again, doesn't want it. They don't consider it because, among other things, they don't want Bellingham to come asking for the same and then someone else and another and another. They don't want that to happen, but it's normal. Madrid isn't going to go down that road, and it shouldn't. When Mbappe came with a signing bonus, damn it, that was different. That was different. There was a footballer, and I'll give you an example. This has already happened at Madrid. This has already happened, and he stayed, and it was Hugo Sánchez. And right away, I'll show you a wonderful document I found about things that happened at Real Madrid in the 80s with his former teammates talking about it. Also, yes, and there was jealousy among the footballers too. There was jealousy, right? Well, as I said, Vinicius might think Mbappe hasn't done what I've done for Real Madrid. And look, he's earning more, of course. I mean, do the same if you want. And that, of course, pushes him away from Madrid. But he can also do what other legendary footballers have done at Real Madrid, who have become absolute legends, just like Vinicius will, whether he stays or leaves, by the way. For the love of Real Madrid, they gave up some money. Life is tough, but even tougher for many who aren't multimillionaires like you. But Vinicius is perfectly within his rights. I'll say it again. I don't want to be too repetitive about this. To ask for more money, to ask for whatever he wants. He's perfectly within his rights. Rodra says here that Madrid is offering 22 and Vinicius is asking for 30. Of course, Vinicius would ask for 30 with a salary, yes, the one Real Madrid is offering him, plus the renewal bonus. He wants 100% of his image rights, not just over 50%. I'm not sure if Madrid will compromise on that. Vinicius is sponsored by tons of brands, but it's crazy how many brands sponsor Vinicius. The other day I was putting a figure on it, like the issue of having 100% of the image rights gives him about 10 million more. No, it has to be something outrageous. I can understand that Vinicius says, damn, all these brands associated with me, yeah. But isn't it different from how Mbappe arrived in Madrid? There, they did give in because he was a guy who was already tied to many brands that had hired him or with whom he had signed deals during a period when he wasn't at Real Madrid. And Vinicius, everything about Vinicius, going back to the previous videos when that guy from Rock Nation says, no, Jordan put the Chicago Bulls on the map. No, excuse me. Those are two completely different things. Come on. Madrid put Vinicius on the map and made him famous. While Vinicius performed well, it's not the same or equivalent. They're unrelated, actually. And I understand that Madrid wants to keep a large part, at least half, or at least a significant part of the player's image rights. That's where the conflict is. Important figures in Madrid, says Rodra, are in favor of the sale. Optimism is growing at Arsenal, and they estimate a transfer around 150 million euros. Do you remember the other day when we used the United example, that tweet, which really surprised me because it already gave a figure? It was 150 million euros. Well, maybe it wasn't so far off. They were the first ones to put out an amount that Arsenal would be willing to pay Real Madrid. I don't know if those 150 are from Madrid or if there would be something else involved. I don't know. We'll find out when this happens, and hopefully not, because I hope Vinicius stays. Even if he lowers his financial demands, there's still no offer. But anyway, Vinny's camp keeps denying any contact with Arsenal, but sources close to the deal say there are indeed talks with Berta and Arteta, who are very involved. Berta, formerly at Atletico de Madrid, is now Arsenal's sporting director. And Arteta, of course, who has taken charge of this a bit, and we'd be naive to think, no, I'm sure they haven't talked. Just because Rock Nation tells us so? No, sorry. Obviously, they've talked. Over there in England, they're aware of the situation, and they've wanted to let Vinicius know, hey, we respect that you love Madrid and all, but if not, the money's here for you. Look, and here's your status in the locker room. Because for sure they're offering him, and that's where they can really get to Vinicius, his intentions and his ego. In the end, it's his ego, just like all of us have. To say, no, here you're going to be the boss of the locker room. I mean, the main figure, the symbol of this team, like Henry was in his day. He realizes he can't have that at Madrid with Mbappe beside him, right? I think it's clear. Andrea Berta and Arteta have talked to Vinicius for sure, no matter how much these guys from Rock Nation tell us that's not the case. Look, I'm going to play this video of Vinicius for a minute because it's valuable footage. Real Madrid TV always has this about what I said today after training, and then the example of what happened with Hugo Sánchez in the 80s, his jealousy towards Butragueño. Look, Hugo was my idol, absolutely. Butragueño too, but Hugo even more. And Hugo, I later met him and worked with him at beIN Sports during a Clásico, a Real Madrid versus Barcelona match. Great guy. I mean, I'm here next to Hugo hosting a show. I felt like I was on cloud nine. Yeah, the Hugo for me is way up here. Now, did he feel jealous at the time? Jealous of Butragueño? Well, probably. This honestly happens in the best families and clubs. What's happening with Vinicius has already happened at Madrid. On another level, of course, because now the level, just imagine, right? Well, first, about this Vinny thing, come on.
Very well, getting to know the new coach, the new players, and training really hard. I want to be like I've always been, happy, cheerful, and playing my football.
There, he was talking about Mo, about what he has asked of him.
I think we need to prepare physically so that during the season we have fewer injuries, and that way we can count on everyone throughout the season. 2 days of double sessions, just one today. That's how it's going. Today has been
His goal yesterday was amazing.
A bit of gym, since in the end I only do short workouts to put more load on my legs. And I think it was a good training session. We all left really tired, But now it's time to rest for tomorrow, since that's how preseason is, and we have to be ready.
Well, there was Vini. It's absolutely unsustainable that if I don't already follow these guys from Post United, I'm going to follow them. And Fulham too, come on, but not the French national team. It's absolutely unsustainable for Vinicius to stay at Real Madrid without having renewed his contract. He gets to January and becomes a free agent. And at the Bernabeu, I mean, nobody says anything and everything is normal. No, it's unsustainable. So if they don't reach an agreement this week, and they are, the positions are far apart. Watch out. For a team, for a club like Real Madrid, which brings in more than 1.2 billion a year, maybe it would seem like those differences are small. But, or maybe Vinicius could lower his demands a bit. Madrid could also give a little more, and maybe there wouldn't be much difference in that regard. That Madrid could, for 15 or 20 million more, for your big star, who has been your big star in recent years, you, who maybe now, for Rodri, you put 15 more than for Rodri, than what you want to pay, and so on. It could happen. We could understand that they could come to an agreement. But the thing is, here, other factors matter too. It's not only about money. For Madrid, perhaps 15 million, it could be just pocket change. You get what I mean? Use as many quotes as you like. It's not just about money. Vinicius might say, yeah. Still, he wants to earn more than him to be the team's number one. And that's my point. We've already seen this, guys. What a wonderful clip, this one. I'm going to keep showing the logo just in case there's any issue here with National Geographic. Apparently, it's a documentary. I wasn't aware of it. This documentary, it's shared here by McCroskey, who has a fantastic account. Well, I don't think there's going to be any problem here. In any case, I'm going to leave it. It's a fantastic account. That tells us, it shows us here. Audiovisual documents from a while ago. And this is Hugo Sánchez in 87 with an offer from Inter Milan, putting pressure on Madrid to get paid more, and so that they would actually have him as the big star of the team.
Last Wednesday, the 11th, a newswire bulletin from the agency.
EFE. Wait, this is too fast. This is too fast. It's not about that either. I make it a bit faster because of the music, but it's not about that here either.
Not staying at Madrid for the 3 seasons he has left as a Real Madrid player has been the biggest sports and off-the-field story of the last few days.
When we went to training camp or traveled, we'd depart from the Bernabeu, and about 500 people would be waiting for us. Everyone would pass by signing autographs, and he always arrived right on time. With all 500 people there, it was impossible for him to get through. He'd say, "People come to see me? Sure, you and the other 17, right?" Suman had a businessman's side to him, and he took full advantage of it. What we call ego, in his case, even if you added up all the egos of the team roster, it was impossible to reach even half, 50% of what he had. There's a very positive side to that, but there's also a part that worked against him. That drove Hugo crazy, didn't it? The fact that he scored goals and people recognized someone else, Butragueño, for his work, it killed him. It made his blood boil.
He has his reasons. He doesn't think justice is done to his undeniable status as a top football star today.
Emilio was obviously the star. One of them is called the spoiled kid, right?
He won't admit he's jealous of Emilio Butragueño, but he can't ignore that the vulture is more popular, earns more, and scores fewer goals than him.
There it is, earning more, plus leadership within the team.
I don't know if he ever felt jealous of me at any point. It even makes me blush to talk about this, you know? Because he was a superstar.
Well, Emilio reacted the way he always has, you know? With diplomacy, with calmness, feeling a bit removed from that controversy, because Emilio is not a man who likes controversies or seeks them out, you know?
Well, although in this case, look, it's the other way around, because Vinicius is the one who basically grew up at the club. He was signed very young and all that, and then the other one arrives. In this case, it was Butragueño who came through the club, and then the other one arrived. And even so, Butragueño was, just as Hugo himself said, the golden boy. This is a Mexican expression. It's not that pejorative. And look, nowadays they get along well. And Michel and Hugo, who people said didn't get along back then, nowadays they get along well. In the end, things always get smoothed over. But what is it? This has already occurred with money, leadership, and hierarchy in a locker room. And we're seeing it here again. Hugo stayed, and let's see if Vinicius stays. Hope everything goes well for you. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel, comment, share, hype up the video. It really helps. and we'll see you in the next one. Have a nice summer afternoon this August. And yes, we're still here, still working. Hopefully there'll be news about Diomande by the next video. Bye.